My name is Taylor Broom. My Ojibwe name is Minomesh Kikiikwe, good medicine woman.
My name is Machbiazi Provincial, and it translates to yellow cloud in the Lakota language.
Well, it is really interesting being in a Native couple where there are two different tribes. A lot of people would just think, oh, you're both Native, you must just agree on everything. But there are quite a few differences in the Lakota culture and the Ojibwe culture.
Being Lakota and growing up here in Minnesota had its many challenges because there's a small Lakota population here in the Twin Cities. It's easy to just ask a Dakota person or Ojibwe person, about a Lakota person, but they don't tell you much other than, yeah, you're from the West. It's extremely hard trying to learn from a book and videos and movies and things like that, because I wanted to talk to other Lakota people, that actually knew something about who we were.
We both put tobacco out at the beginning of every morning, using sage and the different medicines. That's very similar, but culturally our ceremonies are very different. My grandparents, their histories are of a boarding school era, and so they lost a lot of, their culture that way. I'm the first generation in my family who didn't have to deal with the, ramifications of colonization. And so this is really the first generation in our family that we can go ahead and celebrate, who we are as a Native people and bring some of our culture back, because it wasn't until 1970 something that we could even practice our culture out, in the open again. My daughter is 5 months old now, and we really made it a point in her life to include our traditional ways from the time that she was born.
I'm kind of creating just something that I learned and something that I can teach my kids and my family in the future.
Our bodies are so sacred to us because it's the one thing that we were actually given to own. As Native people, we're taught that we don't actually own anything. We're just here visiting this earth before we go back to the spirit world. So it's important to feed our bodies good medicine, good food. I try to cook a lot of traditional foods in my house, so I'm going to be making a wild rice meatball that's made with elk meat. And I'm going to make some wujapi to go with it. Wujapi is a sweet berry sauce. The Lakota people used choke cherries to make it. However, because we're here in Minnesota, I will make my Ojibwe rendition using some berries. And then I also have potatoes and some smoked fish. Smoked whitefish is very popular to eat. It's delicious.
At nighttime for dinner, my mother should prepare our meals, and she would usually give me a small plate of each of the different foods that we were eating that night, and she would put it on a small little dish, tell me to go outside, face the west, you say a prayer, and then put it by a tree, and then leave it there overnight.
Pretty much every Native culture has the idea of putting out a spirit plate, because our ancestors, they come back to us throughout the day and they bring us messages, and it's so important that we feed them and we give them offerings for everything that they have brought to us.
I was about 10 or 11 years old, and we had a big Thanksgiving at my grandmother's house. Said, hey, happy Thanksgiving, and my auntie said, well, no, originally we didn't celebrate this holiday. And she asked me, why would you celebrate a holiday that expresses gratitude for taking another people's land and colonization and, forcing you to follow another person's tradition for,
It's really hard in the modern day with celebrating Thanksgiving, because of course the children learn about it in school and they learn that it's a time that your family is together to give thanks, but really the basis of who we are as a people is that you should be giving thanks every day. We are in a melting pot now, and there's a lot of good that comes from every single culture. I think that it's important though to remember who you are and what your people went through to bring you to where you are today, and part of that is giving thanks. you know, every day.